Welcome to the House Wine Collective, episode 3, here at Control Tower Studios. I'm sitting here with a good friend of mine, Brandon Hughes. Brandon, welcome to Control Tower Studios.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, I always like to start off and ask my guest where they are from.
I'm originally from Asheboro, North Carolina. Very small town. If you think of the show, you think of the Andy Griffith Show, think of Mayberry. Yeah, that's where I'm originally from. Yeah.
So your father was a policeman, and he was just in a really good mood.
Yes, I was the Opie Taylor of Asheboro.
Do you have any other brothers or sisters?
I'm actually an only child.
Only child.
Yeah.
And so, how did music enter into your life with your family?
That's actually a great question. I'm actually the first person in my family to actually touch music. Like, no one in my family really played music or, really, like, influenced me in that. You know how you hear some musicians are like, yeah, my father played, my grandfather played, and it inspired me. The only inspiration I can say that did come from my family is when I was younger, I went to, we would go to church. Being a small town, you go to church. So, like, the biggest inspiration I had was singing the hymns, singing the songs. That was where I kind of got this feeling like, this is actually, I like this. I like expressing myself through singing, through the voice. That's, for some reason, that resonated me more than anything. But I have to thank my mom for that, because she dragged me to church. So I that right there that's probably the biggest inspiration for me when it comes from my family, at least.
So that was kind of your foray into music, singing at church.
Exactly. I was like 6 years old, leading the church, hymns, like song service is what they called it. So I was up there, a little 6-year-old kid, and singing Old Rugged Cross and things like that, like every weekend. It was crazy.
Wow. So was that the first hymn that you remember singing, Old Rugged Cross?
I honestly, only one that came to my head.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot, but I love the hymns. Like, that's the cool thing. I mean, like, there really is some great, whatever you believe or whatever your spiritual or religious background is, you do recognize, that there is soul in those, like, songs, and that right there is inspiring, and I think that's part of it. That's you can in any song, whether it's a hymn or anything like that. I think, to me, it just hit me as like, yeah, this is something you can feel if you actually, like, sing it and you actually, like, feel it properly. And I think that was a big inspiration, at least.
Cool.
Yeah.
So kind of what I hear from you is that you're going to church, you're this kid, and you have this probably first profound emotional cathartic release, right? Like, you had a way of expressing things on the inside of you for the first time, and you're like, wow, this is really amazing. Did you realize that at the time when you were young, or did you kind of, looking back on your life, like, wow, that was a really profound moment?
Definitely looking back. Mostly when I was a kid, I wasn't really pushed or, like, even guided in a direction in terms of the arts. So, like, for me, it became like an almost like self-discovery, over time, where I would look back and be like, okay, that was kind of where it started. My friends all did the plays, they did the musicals in high school and things like that. I was a sports guy. So, like, I played football, I was a golfer, most of my time went to sports. And, looking back on it, like, there was that drive and the fire there. I just didn't, I guess, pursue it or kindle it, at that time in my life. It was later when I was like, what, sports, they're fine and dandy, but what was the thing that I really enjoyed doing? And that was singing and, like, performing. I did some plays in middle school and things like that, and I really had a great time. And for some reason, I just did not really follow that, like, love for it. I thought, being in a small town, football was king. Like, sports were king. So, like, I was like, oh, I want to do something, and I enjoyed football and it was great, but it wasn't really my truest love, and it wasn't until later, after high school, in the college, that I'm like, wow, like, I really wish I'd have gone and done those plays. I wish I could have, like, done more in terms of, like, pursuing the music, pursuing the passion about it, because, like, it hit me at the right time. I'm glad it actually hit me then, because I'm like, yeah, I really want to kind of do this now. This is actually amazing. Like, it was like a rediscovery of myself at that point. It was very fascinating.
That's amazing that you can look back on that and realize that you always loved it, but maybe you just didn't think it was an option.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Do you remember one of the first songs, like maybe on the radio, or that you remember falling in love with, being like, man, this is a great tune? I'm
not going to lie. It was The Lion King. I just can't wait to be king, like Simba. Yeah. Not going to lie. That I'm a side dude. Growing up a kid, you got to say, 90s Disney. If you grew up in the 90s and you love music in some capacity, every one of those songs are phenomenal. So, like, that right there, I can distinctly remember in first grade singing I Just Can't Wait to Be King at, like, a talent show. Like, easily. Like, it was so fun. It was cool, man, but that's the first one that comes to mind. I just loved it. And I'm just like, man, this is fantastic. Then you got Beauty and the Beast and, like, the Aladdin, all those movies, just phenomenal soundtracks. Tarzan, like, later in the 90s, like, Phil Collins. You know, that's how I kind of get introduced to, you know, even the artists, you know, behind the scenes, you know, like I remember listening to Tarzan and finding out about Phil Collins for the first time. And I'm like, wow, that guy is amazing. And I found out he was in Genesis and all that back catalog. And it was just like, wow, this is incredible. It's so cool. And it all linked together. It was so cool.
That's so interesting because so many people that I know, like you said earlier, have this almost pedigree of music. And it seems for you that you were just like this kid at a library, like pulling out books that you've never heard or seen before, and you're like, oh, this, and then like, oh, but this person also wrote this book, and you know, and so you're just really just figuring it out for the first time.
Yeah, it was discovery, man, and that's one of the beautiful parts about, you know, like you can happen young, it can happen at some point, you know, it doesn't matter. It's an epiphany kind of moment. It's just like, wow, this is such a cool, awesome thing, and it's all connected. You know, it was a good feeling when I discovered that.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to college at East Carolina University.
So it's a little bit bigger than your small town.
A little bit. There was an upgrade. That's literally what I'll say. It was the upgrade. Like, just it was the 2 steps up the ladder of a city. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. What was your impression the first time that you rolled up?
First time I rolled up, I'm like, wow, there's actually more than 2 restaurants in this town. Holy shit, that's amazing. The first thing I was like, okay, this is completely new, like everything, the diversity, you know, people from everywhere, you know, like that kind of hit me, you know, like I'm like, wow, there's people from, you know, California, there's people from, you know, Europe here going to school, excuse me, and that right there hit me pretty good. I'm like, that's amazing, like, and it was cool, and I'm glad that in those experiences I could experience the diversity of it. You know, that's something I never got in a small town. So I was kind of blown away. And like I said, even though it was like just a 2-step up the stairs city, it was a big move for me. I'm like, wow, you know, this is intense to me. This is different. This isn't like small town USA anymore. This is getting into the world. Like we're meeting people from all over the place. And that's such a healthy thing, I think, to happen to me. You know, like it expands your horizons and expands, you know, your world, you know, from what you saw. And, I'm very thankful for that, at least. Yeah.
Cool. Did you ever get any type of homesickness, or were you so close to home that it really didn't
Here's
matter?
the thing. I had homesickness. I love my family to death. Everybody, my mom, my dad, both my grandparents are on both sides of my family. They live in Asheboro. So I was very fortunate, you know, and I love my family to death. They are the only ones that I really missed. But as far as Asheboro, I got out of there as fast as possible. Like, honestly, yeah, in all seriousness, it's just like, yeah, Asheboro was a great town to grow up in. You know, if you actually like look at the town and you have dreams of doing something, like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, it's a town to grow up and then leave. It's one of those towns, in my opinion. That's not opinion of everybody, you know. But for me, I was like, you know, there are bigger things out there. There are bigger cities out there. There's more people I'm supposed to meet. There's more things I'm meant to do, you know. And that was the first stepping stone, you know. So I thought it was a natural progression, honestly. I was like, this is supposed to be this way. It's supposed to get bigger and bigger and bigger. You just have to take your stepping stones.
Cool. It's like, I'm already picturing it. It's like your life is laid out like this beautiful small town movie, like where there's this simple kid going to church and singing songs, and it's like, I'm ready to go out into the world, and you meet your first European, and you know, it's like it's this classic, you know, going from small to big, and And so it's a great story. Like, it's so fun. Like, you've literally had to learn every single step along the way. Like, a lot of us from big cities, I feel we get a lot of things like handed to us or taught to us. Like,
it's just different environments, man.
Right.
That's all it is. Like, we come from all walks of life, and we can upgrade or downgrade or move to bigger cities or smaller cities. But I think honestly that's a healthy thing. I don't really think it's as much of a healthy thing to stay in one place for such a long period of time. Like, we are meant, like, I think as humans, we're meant to experience. Like, that's what we're meant to do. We're meant to meet people. We're meant to experience cultures. We're meant to, learn, to gain knowledge, about everything, because I think that's betters everybody at the end of the day. I just thought that was the progression of it, like, you're bettering yourself in different levels, and I just thought that was normal.
Yeah.
For me at least. Yeah.
I agree. That's really cool. So I guess let's either backtrack or we're going along the same track. Okay. Like, when did you start learning to play guitar?
So I actually bought, my friend that I'll say, his name is Stephen Hall. He was the first person who really got me inspired to actually pick up music. So Stephen is actually a great songwriter. Like, he actually tours across the United States now. Phenomenal guy. But it was him. I went to one of his shows. And I'm just like, I love that. Like, I love the music that he was playing. I love the passion the guy expressed. And that was my first inspiration. So I went out and bought a $50 acoustic guitar. Or, excuse me, that is a lie. So I went out and bought a $50 electric guitar first.
Yeah.
So he was a songwriter. He was very folky. I actually was more into the hard rock kind of scene at the time. So I was like, I think I want to play some music, but I want to do rock, So I bought like a $50 like Epiphone Les Paul like starter kit that came with like the guitar and like an amp. And I just like learn songs. I would look up tabs and learn Metallica and like AC/DC and like Iron Maiden, and like I would learn them, and they were great. Like, I was just like, this is awesome. I just loved it, but I wasn't singing at that time. So I actually like wasn't singing at all. Like, after, to kind of backtrack again so I can continue this, I stopped singing after like I stopped going to church. I stopped completely. And it wasn't until I picked up the guitar that I'm like, maybe I should start singing like on some of these songs. Maybe it'll work. And that's what started that up again. And I'm like, wow, why did I stop singing? But to answer your question, yeah, I picked that up actually when I was a senior year in high school. So I bought that year, and I played and played and played and played. And it was cool and it was fine, but it wasn't until my freshman year of college. I'm like, yeah, electric's great, but it's not really fitting my style that I want to write, and want to actually express myself for. So I bought a $100 acoustic guitar. And I played and played and played. I always like to say my freshman year was I went to school, I ate lunch and dinner, and practiced. I never went out. I never went to any, on the weekends or anything like that. My roommates would go out and they would have good times. They'd go out to parties. I was the guy. I stayed in. I played and practiced because it was the thing that I loved to do. Like, I was by myself, but I had such a blast. I'm like, this is so cool. It's like it's like you're putting together a puzzle as you're doing it. And that right there is what really inspired me. I'm just like, wow, this is such a beautiful, beautiful way to express myself, but just a beautiful thing to do in general. And I was hooked, like, immediately. I'm just like, but it was freshman. I will honestly say freshman year was the catalyst year for me. That I'm like, there's something to this. There's really something to this. I feel it.
Mm. So you felt it deep within you.
I really did.
Do you remember, like, is it pretty vivid learning to play the guitar?
Oh, absolutely.
That's crazy. Like, I can't remember it at all.
Absolutely. Like, I remember sitting, I lived in a 4-bedroom house. We were supposed to keep a hush-hush because we couldn't have 3 roommates that were related in the city. It was a city ordinance. So I had to be like my roommate's cousin. Yeah, so like...
Wait, you couldn't have people that were related?
That's right. So you had to be related. Excuse me. So I said that wrong. Pardon me. So like at least 2 of you had to be related to live more than 3 people in a house.
Why?
It is the weirdest ordinance I've ever heard in my life. So they're just like, yeah, just say like your cousins or something. Yeah. So I lived in a 4-bedroom house. They actually converted one of the living room into a bedroom. They actually put a wall. So like I was in my bedroom. I remember distinctly every single day coming back from school, throwing my book bag on the table, immediately had my guitar on the guitar. I bought a guitar stand, grabbed it, sat at my armchair at my desk, and would either look up tabs or read sheet music or just like, you know, taught myself how to play like hours. And that continued every day during the week and even the weekends. I distinctly remember my roommates coming in and be like, "Hey man, we're going out to this kegger down the street. You want to come? It should be pretty fun." I'm like, I might go later. Like, I was actually in the middle of learning a song, and I actually was like really feeling it. And I'm just like, yeah, you guys go ahead. I'll catch up. I never went because like I was really into it, and I learned that complete song that night. I distinctly remember it. And the next day I played it, and I'm like, I'm glad I did that over going to that freaking kegger. Yeah,
it's amazing dedication.
Yeah, it was cool, man.
Do you miss that kind of learning curve? I guess what I'm saying is like it's really exciting to learn something. But then, do you feel like that you're somewhat of a master at your craft?
I don't think... Here's the thing, man. I really don't think I'm a master by any means. I think everybody comes at music in their own way. Like, you can consider people masters, you know, but honestly, I think everybody secretly is always learning. You can always pick up new things. You can always learn from everybody. Other artists, you know, even yourself, you know, like if you just sit down and do it.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it was just like... I want to play the way I feel. That was at the end of the day. It didn't matter if it was finger picking or, you know, strumming or proper chord progressions or weird chord progressions or things that's never been played before. I was like, that just fits, you know. I think the term master is subjective, like to anybody. I think that it could transcend anything. Yeah. You know, like, but of course you have guys, Jimi Hendrix, all those guys, they're considered the masters. But I guarantee even them, like I guarantee when it came down to it, they were still probably writing brand new songs. They're like, okay, what could be good here? Okay, maybe that, you know, like we're all learning. We all want to progress.
Yeah. I guess it's like having that much time to commit to your craft. Like, do you miss that?
I do miss that. Like in general, yes. Like having that much time, most definitely. Like if I could practice every single day and play, you know, as much as humanly possible and just do that for a living, like to sustain myself as well as continue to get better and better and better, I would do it in a heartbeat. Like absolutely. Like because that right there it shows like that discovery for me was my awakening. It was just like, dude, this is amazing. It's such a beautiful, amazing human thing. Like it is the science of the arts, and it fascinates me so much, you know, because you could create anything out of nothing, and it comes from yourself, you know, and it comes with technique, it comes with skill, it comes with time, it comes with passion, it comes with the love of it, you know, and that right there, those things all combined together create beautiful, amazing new things when it comes to the arts. You know, the talent is here, and it's eye-opening and jaw-dropping how awesome those people are and everybody is, you know, but also how down to earth and how friendly and how grounded, like in terms of just reality we are. You know, we understand, you know, how the world's going. We understand how the city's going. We understand how, you know, we're only men and women, you know, but we can do a lot. You know, if we actually like, you know, realize how, I'm trying to think of the right terms, but realize how passion can really make a difference in life, no matter what it is.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And it's something that's so unique with our group. It's like we're all very passionate about what we do.
I completely agree.
So, like, kind of reminiscing about Firehouse, because unfortunately that open mic, it no longer happens.
Yeah, unfortunately. I came down right at the end, unfortunately, just about.
And so, like, what were do you have, like, a memory other than that one that stands out, or is that the one that stands out to you?
That's the biggest one, but honestly, I mean, there's that one, and then, of course, the House Wine, like, times. I think of almost, like, the House Wine open mic is a place for fellowship and to network and enjoy the evening and just experience great, intimate songs in an intimate setting.
Yes.
That's what I see that. Firehouse is almost like putting on a show. So, like, even at an open mic, everybody's up there. They're putting on a show. And it's like a little mini 2-song show a person. So I remember those memories the best. I remember each of those having their unique lots and lots of things happened at each of the places. You know, I have those memories. But the main thing is just like, House Wine is intimate. Firehouse was popping. And those are the two things I'll take away from those.
Yeah, I always felt the Firehouse was more of a roller coaster, because you could have a really good night, and then a week later there'd be no one in the bar.
That's right. That's exactly right.
You know, and no one would be listening.
Yep, that's
right. But House Wine was super consistent.
Very.
You know, you have the same people. It's very chill. You're talking with people. You get a nice glass of wine. You know, it's just this really nice, consistent, really family atmosphere. Whereas, just like you said, a Firehouse is just, you know, it's downtown Austin.
It's downtown Austin.
Yeah. So, being a musician in the Austin music scene, I'm sure it's not all roses. So, do you notice any changes? Because we say it's the live music capital of the world. I don't know if you have any opinions on whether that is actually true or not.
I mean, the soul of that is still here. Like, the musicians and the songwriters and the artists, we're still here. Like, we do have that soul. Like, we perform, we play, we love what we do. Now, when it comes to the city itself, for instance, I went out to a show this past week. It was a band that Sons of Santos. I checked them out. They played at a Monday at this place, and I was like, yeah, let's go out. It's a Monday, you know. And it was like 8 o'clock, and I was like, that's not too bad. So we went there, and great time. Great show. Absolutely phenomenal. They killed it. Like, absolutely hands down. And I remember most of the crowd were musicians. Most of the crowd, in fact, I'm going to say probably 90% of the crowd, were musicians and songwriters out to support that amazing band and the bands that followed, because everybody was great. And it shocked me for a minute. I'm just like, you know, I've noticed that. I've noticed that, like, you know, we'll go to shows, especially our friends' shows and things of that nature, and people will show up, you know. It's people will show up who are involved in the scene, who are fellow songwriters, who are fellow musicians, who want to stay close to that, and they network about it, and they hear about shows and things of that nature. The thing that surprises me the most is that there's not as many locals going out to those shows. And to me, that kind of hit me as sad, just a little bit. You could go out in Austin, Texas, anywhere on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday night, and find something incredible. You can, and probably for no cover, and that's no joke. People can come out for free or even just $5 and see one of the best live shows they've ever seen in their lives. They don't do it. Like, and that right there is fascinating to me. It's fascinating to me, and it's also a concern. You know, I love the city to death, and I want the mantra of the live music capital of the world to stay that. I want it to stay golden. You know, when you say live music capital of the world, you know, I really personally don't think 6th Street, which is the historic quote unquote, you know, area of Austin, Texas, is that. I don't consider that the live music capital area. I consider that as, that's the place where people who don't live in Austin, you know, they hear about it. They're like, yeah, go to 6th Street and you'll have a good time. You'll get really cheap drinks and hear music, you know. Live music's here. Phenomenal, amazing live music is here. And it's not getting heard. And it's not being supported. And that almost breaks my heart a little bit, like, to see that. Because I love everybody. I love it. If you have the passion and you have the love to pick up an instrument or sing or do anything, and no one's like, you know, and no one's like really supporting you in the town, it really bothers me. Like, and I hope that here's the thing, with the love and the passion that we have, we're keeping it alive. You know, not just us, everybody who's out there, you know, who plays music, who loves what they do, who loves the arts and is creative. We're trying to keep that mantra. We want to play. We want to show our passion. We want to do this. And with the city doing what they're doing, especially now with the tech scene and with, you know, rents and such of that nature, unfortunately, continuing to go up. You know, I just have this feeling, it's even as short as I've been here, that like they're slowly but surely pushing that out. And I think it's not too late to stop it. But from what I'm seeing right now, it looks like they're not doing anything to help it. They want to keep the live music here in Austin. They want to keep Austin weird. They are not really doing that right now. They are, unfortunately, doing what they think is in their best interest as a city, which is to grow and to prosper. And they are doing that. But it's also killing part of its soul. And that, I think, is a tragedy. And I hope to God that it does not come to fruition. And there's things we can do about it. There's things we can do about it as musicians and people, and just the people who live here, the locals. We can embrace it. If you really love the city, you really love the scene, go out, support it. Support the local businesses, support the local musicians and songwriters and people out there who are doing their thing, the entrepreneurs. There's people in this city with the creative just beauty about it that unfortunately are being pushed out and they have to leave. Unfortunately, a friend of mine is having to move away. He lived not downtown, but like close-ish to the area. He's like, dude, I can't live here anymore. There's no way. From what I do, and I'm trying to do this upstart, and rent's gone too high, and there's no way. I can't even live anywhere near Austin. I'd have to move to Round Rock or way past Buddha or anything like that just to even afford it. And I'm like, man, that's a shame, and I just don't want to see that as a trend.
Well, we're hoping that you could close us out tonight with the song that you wrote originally so that we can show the world what you sound like.
Sure, I'd be glad to.
Fantastic.
I'll be the one. Will we make it anymore? Can we say them all before we go? We go.
And that was Gifted Soul by Brandon Hughes. Remember, you can see him every Friday night at Eisenhower's from 6:30 to 8:30. Brandon, thank you so much for coming over to Control Tower Studios.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate that.
This has been the House Wine Collective with Josh Klaus. We hope to see you next time for episode 4.